Yo, what's up, boys and girls? How y'all doing? Welcome back to another SarCAST episode, SarCAST number 11 in the series. And guess what? We've got a special guest here today. I don't know who he is. I think he might be an MPL English analyst in season 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know, but what's up,
Freaking
Rashi?
nobody, dude. It's a heckin' nobody.
No, man, it's
Remember, like, oh, freaking no name.
this guy was the
Yes.
guest, our guest. Well, me and Eterna and MPLI's guest.
Oh, dude, that was so cringe.
Go and watch it if you guys want to hear the story behind Arashi, all right? But welcome back, Arashi. A lot of people have been requesting you to be back. Now you're back. Finally, we got the time because he's always busy. When I ask him, he's like out with his friends. He has a life.
The sarcasm is strong here in today's SarCAST.
We all have lives here. No, okay. You know what? I think we're just gonna go move on to the first topic, guys. Because we got some very interesting topics for today, right? So first topic is MPLI results. ONIC Esports won. I personally didn't predict ONIC Esports to win. I predicted them to move into the grand finals, but I said that Blacklist International would be a bit too strong in the meta, right? Because of their performance in MPLPH Season 10. But obviously, again, there was a patch right before MPLI. There was a big patch, right? A lot of buffs, a lot of nerfs. And now we're in this kind of burst meta. But yeah, ONIC Esports won. Geek Fam was second place. I think in terms of results, if you look at it, it isn't too strange, right? I thought it was going to be either Blacklist or ONIC who wins MPLI. ONIC wins, even with their secondary lineup. But what do you think, Arashi?
Quote secondary.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't say you're surprised, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how highly you were predicting ONIC, but I've always said that ONIC is just really, really good right now. It's just so multi-dimensional. It's hard to see them just doing awfully in a tournament. You just have so many possibilities to do things differently. So I wasn't too surprised about ONIC, but I was surprised with how fast Blacklist got eliminated though. I really wasn't ready for that at all.
Yeah, agreed, man. Like, Geek Fam versus Blacklist was honestly just crazy, right? It was so. I'm still trying to think about it again. I'm like thinking about what happened, and it was so mind blowing because I wasn't casting there. I was watching at home because I didn't get that shift. And when I was watching, I was just like, all right, I think Geek Fam's gonna put out a fight, obviously, because in my MPLI power rankings, well, in my top 4, I actually put Geek Fam as number 4, right? For my predictions, for my pick'ems, because MPLI told me to make those and to post it on my Twitter, and I did, and I put Blacklist number 1, ONIC, Echo PH, and then Geek Fam, right? So I put Geek Fam in the top 4 because I thought, yeah, obviously after the performances in the second leg, I thought they were the only ones who could actually like really match ONIC, honestly. Like, you remember they took
You
ONIC to
think?
2-1. It was 2-1 in the final Geek Fam
True.
game. Final Geek Fam match was against ONIC, or the second final one. The final one is a Rebellion, but the second final one was up against ONIC, and they like went 2-1 with ONIC. And I don't think anyone went 2-1 with ONIC. Anyone else went 2-1 to now. It's like RQ and BTR, right? That's it.
BTR essentially took him like 2-0 though.
2-1. They beat them 2-1 as well.
Oh, was it
But
2-1?
Geek Fam didn't beat ONIC, but it was close, right?
Right. I mean, we've been talking a lot about how much better Geek Fam is, right?
Mm-hmm.
As much as you want to talk about how, oh, Blacklist was just like really lackluster. Well, Geek Fam has been doing really, really good. I mean, it's just they have great coordination. They have a lot more flexibility now. I mean, despite the fact that last season we have Ren V all role, right? Flexible in a way. But in this season, dude, like they actually look very flexible in terms of like playstyle almost. So it's not just like flipping around your players, right? It's the fact that like if you try and shut down Luke, for example, you have that dominance in the XP lane. Well, I think Kadera is like really, really solid right now. I mean, his
Yeah,
performance is insane considering again how short his career has been. It's
exactly.
stupid. It really doesn't make sense. But then again, if they focus on Kadera, you can see that Beloy knows how to adjust, makes plays with the mid lane instead, then switch. And then even if they try and pressure the mid lane, right? Luke on the XP lane has shown that like given the right tools, the right heroes against the right matchups, he can go toe to toe against the other big name EXP laners. So as a whole, as a team, individually they seem pretty solid, and on the coordination level, which is arguably more important, they're doing really good as well. So
Agreed, man. Like, for real. I was looking at it again. Fredrin, Cho, Benedetta. I think those were the three heroes that Luke played, right? And when he gets those three heroes, usually he just performs. Even like up against Nats, right? RSGPH. We've been talking about the Blacklist match, but RSGPH as well. Nats got outplayed by a boy as well, the new member on the team, the guy who's replaced
right.
Elzura. Everybody was asking, right, why is a boy here? Why isn't it not Elzura? And turns out a boy might be actually a better version of Elzura. Same heroes, but man, that play in the bottom side when he actually outplayed Nats was just absolutely insane, man. And yeah,
It's just nuts.
it is nuts. But Geek Fam's miracle run is honestly just crazy. I loved it. I was rooting for them in the grand finals as well. No hate to ONIC. It was just, you really want to root for the underdogs, right? Every single time you see an underdog story, you just want to root for them. And I had that feeling for Geek Fam, especially after watching the MP talk. So Jonathan Leandi, if you guys don't know, is a Indonesian content creator. He used to be a pro player in MPLI Indo, but now he's like a full content creator, and he makes podcasts as well. He invites the pro players from MPL Indonesia and he talks with them. And so right before the grand final day, I think day 4, he uploaded, or no, like 3 days, I think at the start of MPLI, he uploaded the MP talk with Chadera, right? And in that MP talk, it's amazing. Unfortunately, most of you guys who watch my channel can't speak Indonesian, but if you do speak Indonesian, go and watch it. It's like it's a really good watch. If you guys are interested about Chadera and his like life journey of how he got pro. By the way, he's 19.
He doesn't look 19.
Exactly. But yeah, he's
And
like
Goni would
19,
tell you
20. What?
his looks are something else. Goni would tell you his looks are something else.
Yeah, but yeah, Chadera's journey and Geek Fam's journey as a whole, they went for a full revamp, right? And in that MP talk, Chadera actually mentioned that like starting from the second leg, all the drafts are handled by Beloy, 100%. So Ruben's like the analyst kind of, right? So Beloy is a coach, he's a player, he's a captain. Yeah.
Man's doing it all.
Exactly. So again, after seeing that, I was just like blown away, right? I thought Ruben was the one drafting for them, but now if you look at it again, they started getting like a lot of success in second leg, right? And that was when, well, in the story, that's when Beloy actually took the helms as that drafter role. So again, it's just so interesting to see, right? Beloy is insane. So props to Beloy. Again, I want to give massive props to Beloy for that. Obviously, Ruben's not doing it. Like he's not like not doing anything. He's obviously doing something as well in the back. He's helping with rotations, etc. But in terms of draft, it's Beloy, right? So massive props to Beloy for shaping this team, because it really feels like now thinking about all this, Geek Fam is basically Beloy's team. Beloy's
Which is also a concern though.
shot call.
I mean, like, should we talk like I'm about to mention about like when we met Coach Aldo.
Yeah, we hung out with Coach Aldo.
Well, because he was saying that it's not healthy for a team to be built essentially around a player, right? He was saying that it's important to have good systems, good staff in place, because players come and go, but usually it's the staff that actually makes the team per se. So contrasting that opinion to Geek Fam right now, if you're telling me that the solid drafts from Geek Fam has all been Beloy, that is tough, man. That means Beloy is managing so many things, and to a degree, that also means that he might not be playing as optimally because he has so many more responsibilities.
Exactly.
You know how I feel about that.
See, that's the thing. That was my concern as well, right? Because if he's doing everything here, thinking about it in the long run as well, long term, he's gonna be burnt out, right? If he's doing all this, if he's like, I don't know about like the rotations and obviously like teaching the players what to do exactly. I don't know if that's him as well, but if it is him as well, again, that's something that's just behind closed doors. That's their system. But if it is him doing all that too, then he's gonna be burnt out. He's burnt out, like very burnt out, right?
It's a lot
I
of
can
work.
only imagine how much work he needs to do if he does all that. In the draft as well, that means he has to learn. He has to have his own notes, etc. Right? So yeah, it will
Mm.
definitely impact his gameplay. Uh, we haven't seen it yet, but again, the longer he does this, I think it will be more visible, right? If he makes certain plays and it doesn't work out in the game, you might like micro skills, the mechanics, because maybe he's too tired or burnt out. That is a legitimate concern. That's also, though, I really just want to give massive props again to the entire Geek Fam team, everyone, Beloy, Jana, Chidera, Luke, a boy, and even Coach Ruben, right? All of them, they really played a massive role in getting Geek Fam the first ever runner-up position for Geek Fam, I think, in Mobile Legends, right? For MPL Indonesia, for their Indonesian division. So congratulations, already is such a big achievement for a new revamped roster for them. But massive props to Beloy, man. Holy shit. When I heard that, I was just like, God damn.
Yes,
Um,
talk about a meteoric rise, dude. Geek fam.
yeah.
They went from
Congrats.
like being
Eighth.
literal nobodies last season
Eighth
to
and
now.
0 wins. Now they're
Yeah,
eighth, but with
exactly.
5 wins. Tied with
I
Evos.
mean, and then they got to they became runner-up. So
Yeah.
everyone's been saying that by the next season, Geek fam is gonna be an absolute monster of a team. So you have that to look forward to.
hmm I'm definitely looking forward to that. Season 11 is going to be insane. But now, honestly, right, when we've talked about Geek Fam, let's talk a little bit about ONIC. Because ONIC Esports just won MPLI, right? And they also won MPL Season 10. And they also got like all the first teams. And they also got the finals MVP and the regular season MVP. And they have a new roster that played in MPLI. I think we're going to skip over everything that happened in Season 10 because we already spoke about that in the last SarCAST episode. Let's focus on what they did in MPLI, right? Using Samo and Drian and not using Keyboy and Sons. That was a crazy move. Well, I don't think it was a crazy move. I think it was the right move considering, again, they still have M4, right? They don't really want to reveal all their cards here. And their quote-unquote best lineup is Keyboy and Sons. But after talking to Coach Aldo yesterday as we hung out, there's no best lineup. Especially now, especially after seeing the performance of Samo and Drian in MPLI. Both lineups are equally strong. Sans Keyboy, you get that more aggressive style, that crazy style in terms of gameplay. For Drian and Samo, you get that crazy style, but in the drafts, it's so flexible when you have Drian and Samo because they can play literally anything. You can flex the
Right.
Cho, and that final game when they flexed the Cho and then they flexed the Akai. Oh, no, not the Akai. They picked Cho and Gushin in the first phase. So I thought, all right, Gushin mid. And then it's going to be Cho Rome, right? And then they picked Franco. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be, okay, there you go. That's Gushin jungle, Cho Rome with Franco, double Rome mid. Then when they played, it was, it was Gushin mid and it was Cho jungle and Franco's the roamer and Moskov gold. So it was just so flexible. It was so good. Even when they picked
They have
Akai,
a Kai mid, right? As well.
that was game. That wasn't the final game. The final game was the Moskov Cho Franco. But yeah, it also played the Akai. They also
Yeah, the
flexed it.
flexibility. What the
It's
fuck?
insane. And ONIC, what do you think about ONIC right now, Rashi?
Hang on, are we allowed to swear, by the way?
Yeah,
Are
fuck
you
it.
doing? Are you
No,
trying
no, no,
to
no, no, no. We
reduce
can
the
swear. Just
fucking
don't swear excessively. Swear when you need it. When you need to.
level? Okay. ONIC, again, so solid, so flexible, and it's scary to me how intellectual their approach is because a lot of
Agreed.
teams, I feel like still, of course, they're trying to improve on that, and they're still trying to get better at every single aspect of the game, but you can still feel a sense of, you know what, we can mechanically power through this. Oh, we get like slightly countered. We have a slightly unfavorable matchup, unfavorable team composition. We can make outplays happen. Typically with RRQ especially, right? Again, RRQ. But yeah, the sometimes you see that Albert will pick something and it won't work, but it works because it's Albert, right? You have that opinion like, oh, it's because it's Albert, so it works out. Whereas for Onyx, it seems like they're so focused on flexibility and options, and they never put themselves in. They just set themselves up for success so early on from the drafts already. You know what I mean? So if you add to that the fact that like their players are actually also mechanically solid, they just have an edge compared to another like really high mechanical player who was at a disadvantage due to drafts or something like that. And the adjustments as well, dude. I recall analyzing for.
No worries. Keep going.
I recall I was analyzing for MPLI, and you can call it an occupational problem, but once it's over, I kind of like have to flush and like make space for the next game, right? But I distinctly recall saying something along the lines of like, ONIC needs to make adjustments, and there are some options that like they can actually do. And by the next game, usually I assume that I'll get one thing right, two things right. Whatever I said could be done, they did, because it logically makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was like an extra like two or three steps they took after like what I initially can like garner from the game. So I was like, damn, like what? Like I'm here like actually full time analyzing, right? Them in the middle of the game, in the middle of everything going on, and then drafting with with a time limit, they're able to actually, in a way, right, get more worked out than like I predicted. It's like, wow, that's crazy. It's so fast.
Shows you the level, right? The level in which they're
Yeah.
playing at, the level that their competitors have to rise up against them as well. It shows you also the contributions of the entire team. When you see a team as good as ONIC Esports, you know that it's not just one player. You know it's not just that. It's not just the players even, right? The coaching staff behind the players are, dude, I have to give a massive shout out. If we gave a massive shout out to Beloy for Geek Fam, we need to give a massive shout out to the coaching staff for ONIC ID, right? Because
Definitely.
they really formed this team. They really formed this team, like for real. Aldo, Mars, Yeb, these trio, the I forgot what I called them.
Three Musketeers.
Yeah, no, I had a name for them.
Like, is it a combination of their names?
Yeah, it's just a combination of their names. I think it's
Madoyet.
I forgot, dude. But whatever it is, I made it during the playoffs. But these three guys are insane, right? Yeb and
We heard
Mars,
a bit
I've heard.
about. We heard a bit about like what they were doing,
Yeah.
like how the system is set up from Aldo, right? And he was telling us about that, the good cop bad cop routine, kind of.
Yeah.
And I found it fascinating. Like it actually works out really well. Like they kind of adjust to each other and find a good balance. So I think it's great.
It is, right? Like the way they what's it called? The division of labor amongst those three as well is just it sounds so solid between the three. And yeah, I mean the minds, man, the minds of all of them, right? Like Aldo, Mars, Yeb combined. We knew Mars, we knew Aldo, and now with Yeb as well, it really feels like these three are really good, right? So for MPL Season 10, it was Aldo and Yeb who stepped onto the stage, who went for the draft, right? And then for MPLI, it was Aldo and Mars, I heard. So yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to the draft right now, I'm going to be honest, I think the best drafter in the world currently has to be Aldo.
Can't argue with it, man. I mean, the architect just
The way
forming
he
up
fi- he
weird
f-
metas.
the way he drafts, and it's so fluid, it's to a point where you really don't know what you're seeing, right? You think you
Right,
know, you think
exactly.
you know where they're gonna go, and then he flexes it. It's also obviously because of the players who have the deep hero pools, but even
Yes.
then, Aldo sometimes recommend these heroes. He's the one who tells them like, "Hey, bro, you should try a Kai mid. Hey, bro, you should try playing Mia. What the fuck? Mia in
Mia
the gold
was-
lane. That was insane. It blew our minds in playoffs, and we were just like, when we hung out with coach, you were just like, all right, you gotta tell us what the heck is that Mia pick? Did you practice it? What's going on, right? And yeah, apparently he does that a lot. He tells his players to like, oh, you should try this off meta pick. We should try it. We should see if it works out, and then we should just play it, right? We have to be confident and yeah. So just massive shout out to all these three coaches, man. You guys, we need to give them props because coaches don't get enough recognition, don't get enough like love from the
Appreciation.
community as players. Even though if you look at it, man, the dedication, the hard work that they display, everything is just so admirable. Yeah, that's the word.
Definitely. And on that note, still, I think it's very, you can really tell like how they're able to just like, I think I mentioned this a bit during playoffs, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like how you're supposed to be able to actually isolate what a hero like brings to the table, right? Is it crowd control? Is it frontline? Is it DPS? And if you have a really good grasp on like how it's supposed to work out, the way I feel like ONIC does, it's crazy because now the possibilities just get really limitless because you're not only seeing, okay, this hero is meta, or like these 10 heroes are meta. No, even the off meta heroes in the right circumstances, if you can figure out, okay, we need a bit of safety, there's a lot of crowd control on the opposing team, we need some dive denial, then automatically like Mia, even though she's not meta, just works out. And obviously there's some exceptions. There's some heroes that are so weak you can't really bring them into pro play, of course. But overall, it's just how they're able to like what pick and choose, like miss a match almost, like just match what they need to what's available. Is great. And as you mentioned, it's due to how flexible the team members are, the
Mm-hmm.
players are. But yeah, I think a lot of other teams, even the other top tier teams, I don't even think I've seen a team where I've really been so like confounded by like what's going on. You know, because
Yeah,
other
yeah, yeah.
teams, okay, they're solid, they're flexible, great. But when they're able to just get really out of the box picks like that and somehow make it look good at a glance, you know, because when we saw it, we weren't like super confused as in, oh, this doesn't make sense. There's no way this works. No, we're saying like, okay, there's ways that it actually like works out.
And they executed perfectly, right? We were skeptical. We were like,
Yeah,
okay, a Kai
we were
mid,
very
what's going
scared.
on? And then we realized, oh, it's up against Kushin. So yeah, like it works. It's a melee hero. You're just gonna be able to zone him away. So yeah, just a lot of great things from this team, ONIC Esports. And if they continue to play at this pace, honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up winning M4, right? But
Right.
moving on, they're definitely going to be contenders for M4. Moving on, though, to the next topic, which is going to be Blacklist International. We spoke about ONIC Esports. We spoke about Geek Fam. Now it's time to talk a little bit about Blacklist, right? Because in MPLI, you could kind of say it was a disappointing performance for the team. 2-0 up against Geek Fam. Honestly, this is the big question that a lot of people have, including the Blacklist fans or the agents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did Blacklist hold back? Now that's the question,
Right.
right? Obviously, because when we're talking about the M4 teams, I think every single M4 team except for ONIC ID did not go all out. RQ didn't even send their roster. They sent their MDL roster. Burnix
This is wild.
Flash went with their secondary jungler, Xeon. Then we obviously saw Echo, first round exit up against Evos Legends.
Mm.
And then and in Blacklist, right? That's it. And obviously Hawk and Todak, right? For Hawk and Todak, though, I feel like they did. I don't know about Hawk, but I think Todak went all out, right? They just, I feel, got demolished by ONIC, unfortunately. But yeah, this is the big question for all the M4 teams. Did they actually go all out? And mainly Blacklist, because the main topic here is Blacklist. I think we can talk about Blacklist and Echo, right? For
Mm-hmm.
RQ, obviously they didn't go all out because that's their MDL roster, so that's definitely not all out. Burnix Flash, Xeon as well. But for Echo, Echo also, they used Kurt instead of Sanji. But Blacklist, they went for their full lineup, Arashi.
Yeah, that was for the full lineup. So a lot of questions are there about, is it just like we said earlier, like is Geek Fam just that much better? Is Blacklist that much worse? And is the meta just not suitable for Blacklist, right? Because a lot of people have been saying, and I believe Blacklist themselves have been very confident saying that it doesn't matter, whatever the meta is, we can, we'll show out, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't argue that the current meta, with how fast paced and aggressive it is, it's
Burst.
not exactly at a glance. It doesn't really fit Blacklist, right? You don't really expect that kind of aggression, that kind of wild playstyle coming in from Blacklist in particular. So there is a there are talks about maybe it's just not something that doesn't suit them, and maybe if the patch changes or if they find some solutions to this current fast-paced meta, they might just do better.
Yeah. You're right. I think Wolf tweeted this as well. He said that this new burst meta, it's a new lethal burst meta, and Geek Fam know how to play it very well. And yeah, for me, I do think in terms of the way they were playing as well, I think they were holding back, but not when they played the game, not when they were in the game. They held back in the drafts. That's what I feel, right?
Hmm.
I think in the drafts, we didn't see the usual creative Blacklist International that we've seen in MPL PH Season 10. So in the drafts, I think, yeah, they did. They maybe did, right? Again, we can't really confirm. We don't work for Blacklist. We're not with them, so we actually don't know. But yeah, looking at it from at face value, I would say that in terms of the drafts, we didn't see anything too crazy. We didn't see that Blacklisty draft, the Guinevere, the Valentina in the jungle. We didn't see anything too crazy in the jungle. But the way they played, I feel, was just Blacklist, right? It was they try to do Ube, they try to work around these objectives as usual, but the pick and the fights coming in from Geek Fam were just on another level. Honestly in MPLI, especially against Blacklist, right? I have no idea. I was so shocked when I watched it, but Geek Fam, the way they played the team fights, they're a burst comp, but they take it slow. They don't like go all in. They feint a lot, you know? It's a battle of feints. And it was just so beautiful to watch them play. Blacklist International, Wise has also said in an interview or in his stream, I forgot, that he thinks that MPLI isn't really that important because it's just for the money. He says it's not for the glory. And he says that IESF is going to be the tournament where they actually go all out. That's the tournament that he wants to win. And you should be watching out for Blacklist in IESF because of the glory. It's a glorious title. It's a title that won't come again for a long time.
Nice.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, it makes sense, but at the same time, is that really a mindset you want to adopt, right? Like picking and choosing which competition? Because I feel like, who said this, right? But the real challenge of being a champion is to stay on top. Because getting to the top is one thing, staying there is a completely different thing. So if you're saying that it's okay if we go down for this tournament, we just rise up on that tournament, it just you kind of feel like they kind of don't really embody that championship like mindset. I mean, and you know, no hate towards Blacklist or any other teams that who does that, because strategically it makes sense. I think in a competitive spirit kind of mindset though, I don't think it's nice. I don't think it's pleasant to look at. It's not a really a positive kind of outlook in my opinion. And at the end of the day, you can't really argue with the results. So yeah, maybe we're just being too idealistic here.
Yeah. Again, it comes down to how they think about it, how they're working on it, etc. Right? But I do agree with Arashi. I feel like for me personally, as a caster, obviously not a player, not a coach, right? I would say that even if you're trying to hide strats, you want to try to go all in terms of gameplay, in terms of like how you execute your game, because you sure, maybe the tournament's just for money, right? For you. Maybe it's all about money for you. Maybe you're not necessarily looking for that glory of MPLI. Okay, but you know, everyone's fighting for money, right? There's no way you're not going to be going in for money. You're not going to be showing off to, you know, get that money. You know, you're not. I think, unfortunately, they were going all out, but just not in the drafts, right? In the way they played the game, I feel like it was all in. And the thing is, I want to talk a little bit about this. I don't understand why teams aren't going all out. That's my opinion, right? In MPLI. For RRQ, I've heard that the players are just burnt out because they're obviously also playing in PLA President, which is the qualifiers for IESF. They're also going to be playing in M4, so they just want to take a break. That's what I've heard. But for all the other teams who actually went in with their full lineups, I don't see a reason as to why they would hide their strategies, because guess what? MPLI, IESF, M4, it's quite far away from each other. There are patches. Like literally after MPLI wrapped up, we literally just got a patch. Right? Yesterday or a few days ago. So there's already meta changes, right? If you go all out on MPLI and you show off your strategies, that won't be the same strategy you use for IESF. It won't be the same strategies you use for M4, because obviously the meta is going to be changing. There are going to be some big patches on the way towards these tournaments. So for me, I feel like if you don't really go all out, if for real, it feels weird, because considering all the changes that's going to happen, and it also for me feels a bit disrespectful to the organizers, right? MPL Invitational, it's a invite only event. They expect the best. They expect all the teams to go full on for a tournament like that, right? $100,000 on the line. Definitely not small money at all. So yeah, that's just my opinion on the matter. Arashi as well. I think we share a similar opinion as why they wouldn't be going all out. you have any
I'm
final words? Mm-hmm.
to add to that, talking about like saving strats. I mean, I was a manager for a bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, like they scrim with each other, and of course, the idea of scrimming is to actually like try out new things and see if there's solutions to it, right? Because like, okay, I find something, it's really good. I may think it's really good, but if we hop in with against another very competent team, it might just get cracked in within one game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So part of why people scrim is to do that, to see if it's solid, first of all, if it holds up against competition, and to see if there can be solutions, because sometimes you can't really find it internally, right? Sometimes it requires an outside opinion
Yep.
to be like, hang on, if we try and get this hero or play like this, that strategy falls apart, and you're like, oh, they don't think about that. But so a lot of scrims happen between these teams. I mean, I don't know how much the public thinks teams hide from each other. They go pretty all out in these scrims,
They
as far
do.
as I know from my limited experience. So I don't know how much they can be hiding, legit. If they are saving it, as in they haven't really used it in a tournament, so that let's say players can't really, or players
Dissect.
or analysts can't really get a feel of their tendencies, right? Let's say a Franco is saved, right? It's not because the Franco is going to be surprising to anyone. It's so that, let's say, if you use Ball as an example, if he saves it, then we don't know like how does
He plays
Ball
it.
play it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know it's good, but we don't know where he rotates, which bushes he likes to use, stuff like that. But as far as like the actual pick, it's really not that close guarded of a secret.
There you go. Agreed.
So that's
Agreed.
interesting. Yeah, I really agree that like they really shouldn't be saving it, at least not to that degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because again, yeah. On top of that, all the meta changes, all the patches between these
Exactly.
events,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So it's not just going to be one patch this entire 3 months between MPLI, IESF, and M4. But anyways, I think it's time to move on. Speaking of patches, speaking of updates, this is a very controversial topic: the Evos bug/cheat controversy.
Ooh.
Now, this is going to be a fun little topic, right? Because me and Rashi, all the casters in MPLI, we spoke about it already. We talked about it. We spoke about it behind the scenes. Obviously, we didn't talk about it during cast, but now is a perfect time to actually talk a little bit about it, what we think about the whole scenario. Do you want to go first, or should I go first, Rashi?
You can go first again.
All right. So, my opinion right now, if we take a look at how, well, firstly, we got to take a look at the bug because it's been clarified, it's been announced as well by ONIC Esports and Moonton that it is not a bug. It is a bug. That bug does exist, but it only exists in training camp in that patch. Previous patch, yes, but it was fixed already. During MPLI, it was 100% fixed in ranked, custom tournament mode, and classic, and even brawl, I think, right? It was only, the bug was there for training mode. That's it, for training camp. If you open the mail and you see it, there is a message that says that the bug will be fixed in training camp in the next patch. But everything else has been fixed. Okay? So, was it a bug? I guess with the announcement from ONIC Esports, from Moonton, it is not a bug, right? It's not a bug. But did Evos try to use that bug? Now, that's a big question, right? Because if you look at game number 2, well, game 1, I think the way he died is no problem, because if you guys don't know, the how the bug works is you need to die within or inside of the turret range, right? You have to die under the turret range to actually get the 500 HP. First game, they didn't do it. First blood went over. Yes, SarCAST died, but he died in the jungle, not under the turret. Now in game 2 was where it was kind of weird, because in the cast as well, we were casting, and then when he died under the turret, we were like, huh, why did he go all the way there, right? Why would he dive like that? So that's the only question mark, or sus, right? I that's the only question mark. But if the bug isn't there anymore anyways, I don't think it would have mattered. I think the main problem for a lot of fans is that Masha was banned globally for game 3 after it was picked up twice by Evos, right? So Echo didn't have a chance to pick it in game 3. I think that's the main reason as to why a lot of people are outraged. A lot of people are just pissed.
Well, it's just bit of a double standard, no? Like, so game one and two and three, they don't have the same rule set technically, so it just makes it a bit funky in that sense. I recall my main suspicion because we were focusing on the game at that point. We weren't really
Mm-hmm.
thinking too deeply about it. We're just like, okay, that's weird, that's interesting, but all right, so be it. I recall very clearly saying in game number two, uh, by the drafts, like I don't get what's going on because Masha has not been very prio, hasn't been proved to be OP by any means. It's yes, it's a pick that works, but teams have not been using it since day one of MPLI. So I was really confused and questioning what's up with Evos. Why are they seemingly picking the Masha so early in the drafts, right? Because if you pick it last, maybe it makes sense. But they're picking in the first phase, and then they seem to be trying to adjust the rest of the composition to try and fit in that Masha. So it makes it seem like Evos is the only team that's prioritizing that Masha, which doesn't really make sense. So I was questioning that, and then the whole bug debacle came out. So I do feel it's a weird situation. I don't know why they were doing it, but I mean there was reason for suspicion, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if it comes out that they did the investigation or they tried things out and there was no use of the bug, like hey, good, sure, but you can't say that the happenings were not suspicious. There's definitely some really confusing things going on.
Yeah, maybe it's a strat, right? Maybe it is a strat. They picked up the Masha for the reason that it can really just invade early on, or they did it because they knew about the bug, and they wanted to test it out, right? I think I it's there's this thing innocent until proven guilty. So I think Evo's Legends, especially considering that the bug wasn't even there in the first place from the announcement, they're definitely not guilty, right? I think the only thing that's a big question mark has to be the ban, the global ban. Now, a lot of fans have said that Zace was the one who said that he wants the Masha to be globally banned in Game 3. Zace has spoken out about this. He said that no, it's the organizer's idea. He didn't say this. He didn't say this, and I don't like. Yeah. So again, it's still It's still very mysterious. We don't know for sure what happened in the call. We weren't in the call as talents for these teams to resolve that issue. But for the issue to be resolved in that way, both teams would have they have to agree, right? There's no way that Evos agrees that it should be banned and Echo doesn't. All three parties from the organizer, Evos, and Echo, they'll have to agree on the final game. No Masha.
Mm-hmm.
That's how the game continued. All right. So, well, that's also my opinion. I don't know. Maybe they did go without confirmation about from the other teams, but whatever. I think from this, especially like the organizer, the teams, they will learn from this, and in future events, we won't have this anymore. This whole controversy. Hopefully, it doesn't happen. Evos also got knocked out by Bren, so it wasn't like a crazy thing in the grand finals, right? It wasn't a grand final match, fortunately for the event. So yeah, I think all things considered, I personally don't think it was a bug. Well, bug for sure not, because they've already confirmed it. But the whole thing, the one that we can argue about is definitely got to be the ban. That's it, the global ban for the third game, right? Because if it's not bugged, all right, it's a strat from Evos, the way they played, the way they invaded, the way they drafted, sure. But that global ban in the third game was the only thing that we can really argue about. But I think it's time to move on over to the next topic, because we have no details about the whole call and how to resolve that. Moving on to the next point, which is going to be, I think we'll take this in chronological order, because the next event after MPLI is going to be IESF, right? So let's talk a little bit about IESF. Firstly, Indonesia. A lot of people have been asking me, Mirko, how are we going to choose the Indonesian representative, right? How is Indonesia going to choose the representative for IESF? Because all the other teams we've seen, Phoenix from Myanmar, Todak for Malaysia, Blacklist International, obviously for Philippines, IESF, Indonesia, what's happening? Right now, PL President is going on, currently, literally as we speak, but it's live right now. And the winner of PL President will be the Indonesian IESF representative. That's that. And IESF is going to be held on the 2nd to the 11th of December. Me and Arashi, I think we can officially say this, Arashi, but we're going to be casting. Yeah, we're going to be casting there to get more people on. If you guys want to visit, if you guys want to support your country, and if you guys want to meet us, Hopefully you do. Go ahead and book your tickets and buy your tickets. Book your tickets, Bali, and buy your tickets for ISF. It's going to be a whole beach convention thing. It's not just a match. There's going to be a lot of shops, a lot of things to play with, etc. It's a festival. It's an esports festival. And yeah, we'll be there. So, Rashi, thoughts of ISF, about ISF?
I think it's cool, but I'm also quite concerned, I'll be honest with you. Because it's such a massive scale. What is it?
Yeah.
770 players, 120 countries.
Because there's a lot of games, not just Mobile Legends.
They completely booked out 3 5-star hotels. The whole thing, right? Wow, it's ridiculous.
Can't wait.
And it's also like the first time we have this outdoor esports stage kind of deal. I don't think we've seen it anywhere else. So I'm excited. I'm impressed. But at the same time, you can't help but be a bit worried about Indonesian professionalism, yeah? Because it's no secret that sometimes in our beloved country here, the work just gets a bit sloppy, a bit disorganized. And with such massive scale, I can't help but worry about technical issues and the like. Hopefully, everything is planned out. Things will just go fine. But that aside, yeah, it's a massive deal. People are coming from all over the place. I think it's great to be a part of such a, well, you can say monumental event.
Yeah,
so
it's
I'm
the
very
first one.
excited. And it's back to Bali. I mean, it's kind of nostalgic at this point.
I miss Bali, man. Yeah, we casted season 8 in Bali. It was such a good time. Moonton organized it so good. It was the hospitality it was just
Shout
the
out
best.
Moonton.
I think shout out Moonton, man. Shout out Moonton for all the events, even season 10, like the playoffs. Holy shiz, man. Yeah, Moonton's great, bro. Moonton's great. But yeah, so ISF, go ahead and check it out, guys. Go and check it out. Go if you guys are interested, fly to Bali. You guys, not only can you visit this event, you guys can also just take a vacation. It's in December, right? It's the holiday season. And in Bali, it's not going to be snowing. It's fine, all right? In Indonesia, it does not snow. So you don't need to care about that. You can just go to the beach, have a good sunny day all day, every day. Oh yeah, my main concern, Arash, you're talking about technical difficulties. The event is outdoors, and I really don't hope it rains. Because if it rains, then I don't know about the whole technical things. But yeah, I think that's the only thing I'm concerned about, right? Obviously technical, because for an offline event, especially for the first day, I think it goes with every event. First days are always the most hectic because you don't really know what's going to go on, right? You've set everything in place, and you really don't know what can fuck up. But I think now it's time to move on to the next topic, which is going to be M4, right? The M4 World Championships are creeping out around the corner already. Very, very close, just a few months away. 2 months away, right? 12 and then January. I don't know what's going on. Time's moving on so fast, man. I honestly, I don't even remember what happened the past year. It seems so fast, but M4 World Championships. Firstly, before we get into the M4 details, I really want to talk about a very cool question that a viewer sent to me in one of my community posts and on Discord as well. If you guys want to join in and talk about anything regarding MLBB or regarding the esports world or anything in general, go and join our Discord. Right now, me and Arashi, we're in the Discord as well. Link will be in the description, so check it out. But yeah, M4, the question was, should M4, the qualifying teams for M4, be judged off of a point system instead of the way it's chosen now, which is top 2 or number 1 in each region, right? Should it be judged off of a point system based on the performances of every team from the first event of the year, which is the odd-numbered event, not odd-numbered MPL for Indonesia, right? It's season 9, and then season 10, and then MSC as well. So all the events will accumulate points when you win, when you, and the one with the top point will go to M4. This system is out there for a couple of other esport titles, Arashi, for their world championships. I think you should go first this time. What do you think about the system?
I think it's interesting, and it kind of forces these teams to like always go all out, because in the end, it's always gonna count unless they really want to risk losing out by several points. It's always about getting as many points as possible to maintain the distance, the gap between you and the next guy. So I think it has potential, but I'm also questioning like how exactly that system will work out. I mean, who's gonna do the math, right? you know, like, okay, if you're winning is at a +2, and like there's a bunch of things to like think about. And I quite honestly think that for the most part, no one wants to do like the calculation, right? Because it's just like, why can't we just stick to this? It's simple. Some team wins, teams goes. Like, right, when it comes to points, I think in a way it makes it more exciting, because then you'll be like, there'll be that situation where you're like, oh, my team is like 3 points down, like, wow, they have to like step up in the next game. And because of that kind of tension, it makes the next game, which maybe in a normal setting it's like, okay, whatever, but now with the thought that, okay, my team is kind of down on points, maybe this is an easy game, but can they get as many points as possible? I think it would allow the games to be a lot more exciting, more stakes. But as I said, it's a lot of work, and I'm not sure if anybody wants to do it.
Yeah. For me, I think the concern isn't about the work, isn't about the simplicity, but it's just I want to see the best team compete in M4. If we take the point system thing, sure, maybe in Season 9 and MSC you win everything, right? And then in Season 10 you have a pretty bad season, you get 6th place, but you still qualify to M4. You know what I mean? You're not going to be the best team coming in from that region to represent your country in M4. That's why I feel like the system right now that we've built is just really good. For MSC, we're going to get the best teams from every single region. That's de facto because they've beaten everyone. We also have a double elimination in most regions, right? Especially the ones with MPLs. It's always double elimination. There's always that lower bracket. So even if you lose, you still get that second chance. You still get to work your way up to the top. So the best always represents their country, always represents their region. And I feel like I agree with that system. I feel like that system is the best system that we have, the one that we have right now. And the point system, just if you're just super dominant in your league, Arashi, you win Season 9, you win MSC, and in Season 10, you're regular season champ, but you're not the actual champ, but you still go to M4, it's like, it promotes the teams not going all out, right? If I already made it to M4, why should I go and win this one?
Right.
Why should I go, like, reveal all my strategies as well?
As we were talking about,
Yeah.
it incentivizes people to kind of like pick and choose, right? Like, okay, I want to win this not really, which is not exactly in the competitive spirit. So
exactly.
I agree. That's
I could definitely see why or how points the point system, how it can work, how it can be good. But for right now, considering that there are two MPL teams, two slots for the big regions and only one slot from the others, I don't really know how they're going to do it. If we have MPLs all across the world already, then maybe we can do that. But right now, it's definitely not going to work out, right? A lot of countries are doing like the Mekong qualifier. How are you going to do that? How are you going to... No. How are you going to track that? A lot of teams come and go, You can't track that. A lot of orgs come and go. The teams aren't like... They're not in the franchise league, so they're not going to be there. There's a risk of them not being there in the next few months. You know what I mean? Like money problems, they can pull out. The team can just be spread it out. They're going to be invited to other teams, etc. And then how are you going to track the points? It's going to be so hard if we don't already have a lot of franchise leagues already placed. So for now, I don't think that will work. Maybe in the future, it would work if we already have a lot of MPLs. We can do that for the major regions. But next up on the board, which is the final topic, is just going to be M4 details, the format, right? So for M4, the World Championships here, it's going to be held in Indonesia, in Jakarta, Indonesia. And let's talk first about the group. You know what? Let's talk about the tickets because before we talk about the groups, the playoffs, you guys need to get tickets to buy, right? So from the information that I've gotten so far, you can only buy tickets on the Blibli app. That's the only way you can buy tickets. Right now, from the information I got, I don't have confirmation on whether or not they're going to be doing offline sales, like sales right in front of the right in the event. So you just come, you buy a ticket there, and you go in. I don't know about that. Right now, the safest way is to buy your tickets through Blibli. So go ahead and buy your tickets through Blibli if you want to watch M4, the M4 World Championships. I think the tickets are being sold at a very reasonable price, right? Very cheap. If it's the early bird one, honestly, I'll say cheap because early bird tickets were so cheap. And I think they're still being, I think right now you can still get them. Not sure, but go ahead and check it out. I'll also leave a link for the M4 tickets down below in the description for you guys to check out. Go and buy it. And if you have any problems with Blibli or how to buy like the tickets from Blibli, go ahead and just, I think, check it out on YouTube, how to buy Blibli, how to buy tickets from Blibli, etc. from your country, right? And there has to be tutorials out there on how to get it from your country if you're having problems. But yeah, that's for the tickets. For the groups and playoffs though, so it's going to be separated, right? Groups is going to be in the EXO Hall, not Istora Senayan, which is interesting for me. Smaller place, it's where we usually do the MPL regular season 9 and season 10. We did the regular season and even the playoffs for season 9 in EXO Hall. It's an okay space. But then the playoffs will be in Istora Senayan. So that's when we get the 7,000 capacity venue.
And it's a lot of people. I don't know. It feels weird that it's not in the same venue. Because even for the playoffs earlier, it was like, it's. Well, I guess it's only in the playoffs too. You're right. I don't know. I feel like considering the scale of the event, it makes more sense to have it like in the same venue. Like it also builds up hype a bit, But I guess there are circumstances we're not aware of, right? We can't really say. We're here as talents for the most part. We don't really have any channels to management or anything like that. So I guess we can look forward to a great event, though. I mean, the M series has always been amazing. I mean, Mirko has seen it firsthand. Unfortunately,
Thank
I
you,
haven't.
Moonton.
Moonton, please.
Moonton, please, M4. But yeah, I mean, that's about it for this video. I guess we've spoken about everything for M4. Right now, we're just going to be talking about the details. We'll have a separate episode on power rankings, etc. right now as the roster has been revealed. But I think for me personally, I'm going to wait for IESF to wrap up before we actually talk about that because patch changes and everything will impact the power rankings, right? And yeah, I guess that's it for this episode, man. It's a 51-minute episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Arashi, you got any final words to say?
Well, I guess look forward to IESF, and thanks always you guys are supporting Mirko and his endeavors. It's always appreciated by me as well.
Go and support Arashi as well, guys. All right, all his channels, Instagram, all his social media will be in the description below. Support him. His YouTube he hasn't uploaded anything on YouTube. He will be streaming soon, so go ahead and subscribe, man. Subscribe to Arashi down below, description. Link it down there. It's gonna be the first link you see to Arashi's channel.
I have to check my channel to make sure there's nothing weird on it.
Yeah, he has a couple of videos that he did before he started casting. Like, it was just him playing games and stuff. Yeah, but go ahead and check it out, guys. He's gonna be streaming soon. Can't wait for it as well. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching SarCAST, and I will see you guys later in the next episode. Peace out.